So just playing some poker on Club WPT here. 2 tournaments. This one's a 2,700 play chip tournament, and the next one's the play chip tournament too for 250 plus 25. But the psychology of tournament poker is the same, so it translates very well, even though it's not 100% accurate based on pressure, given the stakes at hand, right? But it's one of those things, fake it till you make it, right? So if you're playing play money and then you develop really sound mathematical skills and psychological analysis of different situations that present themselves, then you're able to capitalize them and win tournaments. Because I've won tournaments like for play money and real money. So I won one tournament in person, and I won $10 and $5 tournaments on Poker Stars, and $3, $2 quite often, and then before it was just Ontario, like, because now Poker Stars is just Ontario. And when I competed against the world, I played a dollar tournament, and there's 1,467 players, and I won that one. Won like within a week of being of having an account. I read a book about maybe 20 years ago now, and then I played. I guess 2006, 2007, so about 20 years ago. So I read a book, and then I won an 8,000 player tournament for play money, but I won $32, and then I parlayed that, played many tournaments, like $50, $100 tournaments, but it never really translated to big time winning. So I was only making the structure that they had. I was only consistently making about $7 American an hour, so it wasn't enough to quit my day job. So I just kind of forgot about poker for about 10 years. I played the occasional cash game with friends, but I never got invited back. Not because of my personality, just because I always won. And then I played a tournament in probably 2019 in Toronto, and won that. Then I played one other tournament there, and I didn't do too well. I didn't finish in the money, and then I didn't really play poker until COVID happened. Then COVID's like, need a hobby. It's like, well, I like video games, and I guess I should try to master a video game that I can make money at, and or a game that I can make money at, and so I'm like, well, poker is that, right? Like, so then I played Poker Stars because it was easier to deposit money than GG. And then I won the tournament for $1.
Warm up a bit, eh?
Yeah, it's a little frigid in the cold shade still.
Sun's starting to go down.
I won 3 tournaments with over 1,000 opponents. One for 8,000. Then I came 4th out of 2,700 ones. And then came 1st out of 1,467, and then 1st out of 1,252. And I use funds to play for real money or not. It's hard to say. Like, I've never played for like when there's $1 million plus on the table, right, where you could actually see the cash. But at that point, I'm pretty confident, like, in that I'd be like, okay, sure that the money's intimidating, but my plays got me to this point. As long as I play my game and a good math game and not be afraid at this point, like make leaps of faith when based on my experience. And then I think I could probably psychologically try to get past it, because like I tried to I like playing club WPT, and when you win a world poker tour, the final table is six-handed. So because of that, I spent like 2 years just playing six-handed poker. I wanted to have more hand experience at six-handed, and usually I started with the least amount of chips, so I came from an underdog perspective. So when I did have the same amount of chips, I would steamroll them. Just practice makes perfect, right? Play money is just the theory aspect of it. You're just constantly working on the theory aspect of it when you're doing play money. And truth be told, like right now it's rigged online poker. That's why I don't play for play money, because I have been ranked professional 4 times on a real money website. In cash games. I'm better at cash games, but they're not as fun. I love winning tournaments when there's over 1,000 opponents. I want a tournament here on Club WPT. I'm not really in the hands. I'll just show you here. Poker. There's other stuff like philosophy and things like that. So it's Mythicus Gold. I just want to watch this and see how many opponents were in the tournament. Play money tournament. So the blinds are pretty cheap at the beginners. Play lots of pods at the beginning. Normally the tournament lobby right there says the number, but for some reason it doesn't. So for my opponent's strategies. Okay, so there's at least 158 people in the tournament, and it's alright, but I like winning tournaments with over 1,000 opponents, right? So I like winning any tournament, but particularly when the more the better. I'm trying to advocate actually for the legalization of Texas Hold'em, even though it's legal where I live. I'm just a fan of the sport, and I think it's a cognitive pursuit, and you have to understand there's outs in poker here. So for this particular hand, the best possible hand right now is 4 of a kind, right? So just say you had the 7, you're doing all right, but I'll have to play a hand and show you the out situation. So, well, I guess he has 2 7s for outs right now. Now he has no outs because the ace. Before the ace came, he had 2 7s. He needed to hit one of the remaining 7s to beat the pair queens, right? So at that point, there was 2 cards. He could see 2 cards that his opponent had, and then he could see 3 other cards, right? So that's 7 cards. There's 52 cards in the deck. So 52 minus 7, that's 45 cards. The guy with the pair of 7s had two cards out of 45 cards, right? So he only had 2 outs, right? So he had atrocious. If he called a bet, he would have made a poor decision long term. So he wouldn't be a profitable player. He'd be a fish. Unless he felt like he was lucky that hand and he just happened to hit that 2 out of like 43 cards were good for his opponent and 2 were good for him. You try not to put yourself in those situations. You should be disappointed, especially if you think you're a professional player caliber. I mean, if you're going all in all the time and you have to hit 2 outers or 4 outers, then maybe poker's not your pursuit. Or play at a different difficulty level. Because a lot of people chase their flushes. You know, with my experience level now, like I just happen to have 2 cards. And I play the situation, how like my opponent raised there, how much time it took him to make the raise, how much he raised, how has he historically played since we've been sitting at the table together. My brain's calculating all these things. They're looking for patterns in behavior, right? So I have an atrocious hand, so I'm gonna call it just to show you another example without, you know, even though it's unlikely I'm gonna win this pot, so one can in, play if it's cheap. Okay, so nobody raised, so that's good. So there's 4 opponents. So in this scenario here, if there was a phrase to describe my hand, it would be snowball's chance in hell of winning a legitimate hand. In a legitimate way this way, I guess, for this particular hand, right? Because there's a flush draw, right? So I guess I would have, the only way I could be confident to win is I would have to hit a 4 and then a 4. I'd have to hit runner 4s. But with the pot odds, he's giving me 1-to-1 pot odds, and I'm probably like less than a 10% chance of winning. So anything less, he's giving me 1-to-1. Like if he bet 100, it's like I would call 10 chips. That's good math. So you want to give people bad pot odds, but only make calls that are good pot odds for yourself. And betting in hands increases the likelihood of you winning, as long as you're camouflaged about it. Like if you conceal your poker intent at the poker table, see, nobody showed any aggression here, so I'm going to be like, how about this, guys? I'm going to give you bad pot odds. I'm giving them 1-to-1 pot odds. So if they had ace king, they would have 6 cards in the deck, assuming I had a hand, right? So I have 47 cards, so there's 6 cards out of 47 that are good for ace king in that scenario, and 41 were good for me. But this guy likely has the flush based on that play right there. He didn't though. Nice. That I can get to the point there too, because I was going to say he could have a flush draw. Like that's why when I was describing that, he had 6 outs out of 41 cards. That was on the flop. But once the diamond came on the turn, he could have had a high diamond like the ace or the king in that analogy with the ace king scenario. Right, so which would have gave him more outs. Then it's almost unlikely he's not going to fold at that point, especially with the ace, since he made a pot-sized bet, or called a pot-sized bet with the snowball's chance now, basically 6 outs out of, like, so 6 divided by 47 is the fraction. I mean, so you should know that's almost 1/8. He called 8/8. I should have called 1/8. That's why I destroy these people constantly. I always give them terrible pot odds. So let's see what we had here. This is a hand that never materializes, right? But I have position over two of my opponents, and no, one of them, because this guy wasn't in the pot, but I made the decision. It was over two of them. Even though they didn't react yet, but they had, from a late position, you should give more respect to the hand strength. That's why I play out of two cards, right? Because I don't need to hit a hand to win. That's why I go by Myth Crystal. Actually, I go by Myth Crystal because when I was on an app, Poker Mega hit, and there was 10 million downloads, and I was ranked 212th was my highest ranking, and there was 16 leagues. Professional was 9th, and I made it to League 16, which was mythical. My name's Chris, so I went by Myth Crystal after that. I'm a clever motherfucker. Sometimes I pretend I'm wearing a Scottish kilt because I got balls. And I just don't give a fuck. That's why I like Texas Hold'em poker. It's like I'm dealing with a bunch of mechanics when I play Texas Hold'em poker. I'm not going to be as finesse with my linguistic skills when I'm on the fly improving. Because who doesn't like to love? Then I am my announcer voice. Crystal soon entered the building. I have a better voice. But free computer interface most likely is restricted memory, as you could hear in my other videos. When it's just right, I'll bring it back in. I got my Jamaican poon voice, man. Cheerio, y'all, Captain. I'm a ninja. But as a kid, I used to like, there was two, Watermouth, there was a black individual and a white individual that were very fantastic with their voice. They could mimic quite a few things, so I gravitated towards that as a kid. But I just can't do it anymore. Not without a Guinness. With froth. Okay, so this is how about now? As Myth Crystal waits for Texas Dog to fold with the donkey avatar. He thinks he's a good player. He probably is. Usually, like I don't know on this site, but usually if people, if they're calling somebody a donkey, then they think they're a better player. But you know, this guy, but since guys mainly play poker, you know, we guys, we tend to think we're the best drivers, lovers, and poker players on the planet. Most of us, if given a choice to be the driver, we'd be the driver over the passenger unless we had a chauffeur. Okay, so let's see. Well, in this scenario, there's very little hope. Okay, 3 folds, that's nice. And that's what I was hoping for, but kind of disappointed because maybe. I was hoping I didn't run into a high club with that many opponents. Almost certainly one of them had a club, but the strict player should be playing like ace, king, queen, max, like queen. Like if you want to play, if you're playing in Vegas, ace and king, or Macau, or Monaco. If you're playing at that level, you're only calling with ace ideally, but king sometimes because they don't always have the ace. Right, I went with the 7, right? So you can't be too afraid of those, like the monotone boards. You have to win a certain percentage of those off pros. Because I'm fighting for every one of them, every single one of them, in a sly, discreet kind of way. That's why I always stick around. You want to be sticky in a pot. You want to be hard to shake, like a fold wise, right? Like a bluff wise, like when you make a bet. When you make a bet, then you're betting for information sometimes. You're betting to get a fold sometimes if you're bluffing, and you're betting to get a raise because you want. At first you're thinking, okay, I can only get this much based on the size of the pot, how my opponents are playing, so I can only extract this many chips out of them. And then you bet, and then they raise. You're licking your lips. You're like, Eureka! I have found it. And then they turn over the cards, and you rivered them. I was gonna say the opposite, but that was too obvious. But the worst case scenario is when you bet, they raise, you're licking your lips, and then so you go all in. You think you have them trapped, but then they've trapped you. Happens to everybody. That's the beauty of Texas Hold'em poker. When you have the second best hand, that's usually when it happens, right? So let's see the tournament lobby here. So running time 28 minutes, 2,500 plus 250 PC. Rebuys no. Break duration 5 minutes. Players eliminated 75. That big stack is 11,000 chips. Average stack is 2,900 basically. There's 232 entries. First place is 150,000 chips. That's awesome. Some almost average stack, right? Like, so that's ideally the game plan for when you're in a tournament. You want to be maybe the chip leader at your table, but average stack for the tournament. And you just worry about your table, right? You just try to make the best decisions, the fewest mistakes at your table, and then go from there. Okay, here we go. That is about as much as I was willing to call. For the open-ended straight draw, I had 8 outs plus 3 tens plus 3 nines. So that's 14 outs when I went in out of 47 cards, right? So that's almost 1 in 3. So my odds were, that's why I was aggressive, right? I didn't call. That's the difference between calling and then betting. Betting, I won. Calling, I was unlikely to win. That's why you got to dictate the pace. For the longest time, I was like, oh, okay, this guy appears to be good. I'm gonna try to play their game. I didn't say that, but it's like I'm gonna try to beat them at their own game, kind of deal, I guess, maybe. And then I'm like, well, wait a minute. I have 0 experience playing their game, and I have 100% experience playing my game. So I'm just gonna play my game, make them play my game, or I'm not gonna play against them. That end. So that's just the psychological understanding of that. Nice full house. Well, Streaky 20, they went in with an open-ended straight draw when there's already a potential full house. Or, pardon me, 4 of a kind out there. So that was kind of fishy of them. That's pretty suspicious. I'm suspicious how they were suspicious. Well, that's more my announcer voice for Myth Crystal. It's myself, right? Here we go. Here we go. So I missed the royal flush. Missed the royal flush. Missed the royal flush. She gave me 3-pot odds, right? Like minimum bet for a royal flush draw. You're pretty much always making those. Even if you had to go without luxuries for 2 weeks till your next payday, you would make a minimum bet for a royal flush draw. Well, there's the nut flush draw, basically, and the gut shot royal flush draw. Oh, Mr. 10, wow. Mr. 10K is like not gonna have any of that 420. Now here comes the table bully. Yeah, that guy has so many chips he could just basically call and hopefully he destroys the table and I survive it. There's a lot of chips he could pressure. And he could be running a lot too, right? Like he just made the flush or straight for me. Every time I make a mistake, that's making me in their face. Like that, then when I correct myself right away. Most likely. Because I used to be a financial advisor. I never had to do this. Like on film, talking about tax deductions, tax credits, how it impacts your income tax. Show the 8-3. I was a little busy there, so that's why I was taking so much time, but I was able to utilize that as a bluff move that I do occasionally. Usually I have it, but I have a move for every situation for my table image. So 97th out of 112th remaining. 112 remaining, I guess it would be. So this player right there has so many chips, and they're on my left, right? So I'm kind of like pinned down in this tournament. So I have to pick my spots, wait for opportunities to present themselves. So I'm hoping to have position over them, or they're not interested in the pot pre-flop, and then I could have there's another person with lots of chips too. It's like being a millionaire, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, a couple billionaires at the table. I'm not even in that club. Yeah, there's a couple big stacks, so it's there we go. He's gonna be the more aggressive. So hopefully next hand I have something decent, like and hopefully the big other big stacks. Yeah, there's lots of big stacks here, but the only good thing is like wait, there's gonna be lots of chips, right? If you win a pot, right? So ideally at this point I need to win, say the next two pots I play, or at least the next 2 out of 3 pots I play. So that's the goal. Because is there an ante yet? No, there's no ante yet. So once there's an ante, then it's even more crippling. Antes are ways to make tournaments end. Because after a while, like especially like in the like at the World Series of Poker, right? Like that's why last time I heard it took like 17 days for one to finish, right? So because the higher caliber play, right? It's slower than online, right? So it'd be nice if there was a digital element, which everybody had, like every seat had a little display screen so they could see their chips. So their chips were all digital. Then you just had every seat had a colored chip, and then you could have one for all in, bet, raise, and then you could just program in the digital amount and then call. Right? That's all you need. Bet, raise, and call in, and all in, and maybe just enough chips to just play with. So you have the chip noise, the visceral effect of just play with the chips, like is fun. But just for the speed of the game, right? Because like they have mounds of chips and you're counting chips, you can't really pay attention to the next hand because you're focusing on counting your chips, right? Like so you're not able to make pertinent decisions when you want to. Right? Like instead of a 17-day tournament, it could be like a 6-day tournament. you know, if with the dealers, with the cards coming out of the table, and then the a dealer and each player cutting on the deck. Each player taking a turn to cut, but the dealer makes the final cut. Or no, the player would make the final cut, so the dealer would make a couple cuts, and that's just so everybody has a chance to know that they influenced it, and it's not rigged. You know, because when it comes out of the table, right, like theoretically a computer could figure out exactly which cards were which, and then rig it for high dramatic value, right, at the expense of players. Right, so a more authentic, real experience would be to do that, like almost like, you know, like playing like heads up, right? You each take turns dealing, right? Like if I don't cheat, right? That's why I go by cheating at one, right? But so if I'm playing heads up with somebody and they're getting like 4 of kinds, like full houses, royal flushes, and I'm getting like 7-9, right? I'm getting like terrible cards, right? Like it's like, okay, like either they're incredibly lucky or they're cheating. But most of them are greedy, right? Because just like in the movies, those sophisticated thieves, they're always going for that one last retirement score, and then they always get caught, right? They always get greedy. I'm running with this, unfortunately. I haven't played in like, it seems like 65 years. Good luck me. Not likely. I got a club, maybe. No, he probably has a high club. He has a very high club. So I need a 3. No, that doesn't even help me. Nothing helps me. I might win a portion of something. Nope. Well, that was unfortunate. I want to end the video though on that. That was just a desperation play. One big stack there just manhandling me the second last hand I played, and then had it basically a third down and like 5. I had to make a move. So there's another tournament. Okay, it's holding to normal. If you do join Club WPT, you have to look here because, well, this is Omaha. But Hold'em, they have it, but sometimes they have Hold'em that's not no limit Hold'em. You have to look for the NL, basically. Right there, the NL. And then on this side, you got to look for the NL because or no limit Hold'em on the side because there's FL. And that's a variation of limit Hold'em, which kind of sucks. It's not even true limit Hold'em, because true limit Hold'em, you could constantly raise them. Right? It seems like not constantly, but you could drive them out of the pot. Like you could make somebody go almost all in the first hand based on just raising like if 2 people are just raising aggressive, like every opportunity they can. And then it could be a very big pot, right? And when I played it on this site, it was I tried that tactic, and it was it's good if you want to learn poker, but it allows like you could be leading on the flop and then lose by the river easily. Right? That's why no limit's more popular variant, because with the no limit aspect, that you can force your opponent to risk all their chips on a marginal decision, which likely results in a fold most of the time, or a marginal decision, which results in a win for you. Okay, so this is a couple raises pre-flop. And then it was like a big punt by the ER team. Wow. Nice bet. Just gonna sit out for a little while. So these are some big bets here. Potential 4 of kind, 2 full houses, straight and flush draws. Flush came through from 1 flush. 8-9 of clubs is best possible hand now. The 2 pair wins it. They say it's 5 o'clock somewhere, so it's a good time to drink. And it's 5:20 here, so maybe I will have a beer. I don't know if I have too many beers. And the feeling of spring now that it's March. It's spring-like weather. Okay, so that's terrible result there chip-wise. could use some tropic weather for finish off the Canadian winter. And come back, and for me, I'm Canadian, right? So there's nothing better than Canada from April to August. Nice warm weather, and such a big country to visit. I've been far east is Quebec City, and then west Vancouver. So I've seen a lot of Canada, but and a lot of the states, United States of America. One of my nieces gave me some money to drive her to visit some guy, and so I dropped her off in Milwaukee, and then I drove to Denver while I was killing the weekend to pick her up again. So that was kind of fun. Then I flew to Los Angeles. Okay, so I guess I'm going for it. So true flip. Didn't work out that time. Well, that would be it. And anyway, yeah, I drove from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario to the New York City, then from New York City to Florida. So that was pretty cool. Been to the Indianapolis 500, so used to drive to Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland. Just been to quite a few American cities. Been to London, England. Been to France, just drove through it. Belgium, the Netherlands, Germany, Denmark. Hopefully a lot more countries soon. I've seen the biggest cities. Well, it was on the bus, right? So I didn't really Amsterdam. I went there because I like cannabis, so it's legal in Amsterdam, so I went there. So that was a fun city. I'd like to go back. In Copenhagen in Denmark was pretty cool. My mom was Danish, so I went to visit her. Anyways, so I guess that'll be the end of this video, and so once again, anytime that I say something that's pretty obvious and then have to correct myself right afterwards, that's brain computer interface, and you could I'll just show you here. So this is my Facebook profile, and you can watch these pinned videos. And this one right here. So this one here, there's a petition that you can sign at the end of it. Watch it. It's a 50-minute video. It's pretty informative. It just shows basically brain-computer interface could influence the human brain, which could control the human body like a prosthetic limb, right? So it shows the scientific analysis and all the research that different doctors or robotics companies are doing throughout the world, and that compiled a video that showcases it all. And there's some electromagnetic infrared frequency that people do to try to harm people. That's why I wasn't able to communicate at that particular moment. Anyway, so thanks for watching. So go to change.org/you could be a hero.